Now, let's get into our underdog token of the day because we want to wrap up on something fun. The giveaway's fun, the scavenger hunt's fun, but we want to wrap up on something fun. So let's talk about our underdog token for the day. I covered a couple of tokens. This one is hard for me to cover, to be honest with you, because I think the way they built it's just over complex, needlessly so. I get what it's conceptually doing, but I think they just went too far with complexity on this dude. I will do the best I can to provide the coverage that I can do. If any of them want to come on the show and help wrap some head around this, I would love that. I would love to talk through it because I struggle with exactly what problem this solves. The token specifically that I'm talking about is Spell token. It's on the Binance Smart Chain. It also is on other networks, but the reason this one came to my attention, believe it or not, was a Congress video I saw where the guy was calling out magic internet money. And the site's called abracadabra.money. And the way they say it's simple. It's pretty straightforward. It's not straightforward. It's a chaotic to me as somebody who's been following this. It's way over complex. But what it sounds like they're doing is they're saying that you can use certain assets that are used as collateral in an attempt to borrow this magic internet money, which you can then swap for something else. If that's what it is, I'm struggling to understand how Spell plays a factor into this. It doesn't make any sense the way they describe it. And so I'm going to do a fundamentals coverage on this one rather than a technical coverage on this one because I think there's something here, but I'm having a hard time figuring out what that something is. And until I can wrap my head around it, I can't really advertise it. And of course, they do that Git book garbage for the white paper. So I'm already kind of turned off because, as I said, I want a PDF. I want something static. And I want to see you do a better job about what you're doing. When you go to their site, it looks like some video game coming back from the Atari era. And they're explaining it like it makes perfect sense to nuts in the room. But the truth is it only makes sense to them, I'm pretty sure. And they've simplified it in their mind. But what they didn't do and what they failed to do, I think, personally, is they failed to put it in context to a larger audience understanding of what it is. Let me read their core description. Abracadabra.money is a lending platform that uses interest-bearing tokens, IBTKNS, as collateral to borrow a USD peg stablecoin, which is their magic internet money, that can be used as any other traditional stablecoin. Currently, a lot of assets such as Y vaults have locked-in capital that can't be put to further use. Abracadabra offers an opportunity to use it. Stop right there. So they're describing magic internet money as a USD pegged stablecoin. Okay, no problem. Then they're describing that the platform uses these tokens, but doesn't tell you in that first introduction where the tokens come from, how they work, why you get them, and it still doesn't describe how the Spell token comes into play. It talks about the depositing the platform and then borrowing this money, and it says depositing collateral. Well, that's fine, but all the tokens that it's calling out, these aren't tokens that somebody would commonly hold. So it doesn't start at the beginning, okay? You would get these tokens from here. From there, you would give them to us, and then we would give you MIM, and then you could swap the MIM for a real, stable coin. And it doesn't explain why you would do any of this, and it doesn't explain why you can't just go straight to the stable coin of choice and why you have to do 3 hops to do this. And then it doesn't clarify the whole borrow. One of the, I guess, I don't want to say conspiracies, that's bad, but one of the furors of the United States government with respect to Binance and Coinbase was the whole borrowing of assets, borrowing of money, which may have triggered the government to kind of get involved and look at this thing, because anytime you're talking about borrowing, you're talking about securities. And of course, securities are under heavy scrutiny. So that to me resonates as high risk asset. Now, because they're not heavily describing exactly what's going on here to a layman audience, I can't say that it is or isn't, a high risk thing, but it certainly appears high risk because they're not explaining it. And they're talking about borrowing, and they have not, you page through the Git book, and that's why another reason I don't like Git book. You page through the Git book, and at no point that I can obviously see, and when I stress obvious, I'm saying that you should build it in a way that it works for a layman audience. I can't obviously see how this all ties into the Spell token. You get to a staking place, and it says stake your spell for S spell, and you get fee sharing. Okay, well, that's fine. This doesn't talk about how it correlates back to the magic internet money. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't. It's just a completely different mechanism. That's fine, but it should be spelled out that way. Give me a table, like a simple table that just says spell. Here's what it does. Here's why you have it. Here's what you get. And then here's your APY. Magic internet money. Here's what it does. Here's how you get it. And then these tokens. Here's how you get them. Here's where they come from. Some simple matrix that breaks it down. I think they just spent too much time on trying to impress somebody with the technical aspects of this, because I do see that there's something here. I really do. But I don't think they did a good enough job explaining at a layman level exactly what's going on. They're just saying spell token, which by the way is on exchanges. You can buy it. And it does have a pretty good set of basic tokenomics if you are interested in farming and staking rewards. If you're interested in passive income, it does look like it has fundamental of those. 210 billion spell supply. They did a burn of 50%, so that's the remaining. And they're doing distributions after the initial and then on Uniswap and SushiSwap, and that's fine. And then they talk about the farming for spell, but again, it doesn't give any direct correlation that I can see to magic internet money. And I don't know, I remember I read a statement somewhere that said, yep, by doing spell, you cast a spell and it creates magic internet money. As far as what I can tell, that's not true. It might be, but if it is, your document doesn't do a good job of expressing it. So the fact that Congress has eyes on this thing might be a gift and a curse, because it means there's awareness at a mainstream level, but it also means there's scrutiny potential, and that means high risk, and that means it might trash at some point in the future, at least the MIM. And maybe that's why they kept them separate. Maybe they purposely decided to do this off to the side for those that want the high risk asset. I'm not sure. Abracadabra.money. Again, spell token is the core I was talking about. Take a look at it, see if you can make sense of it, and feel free to leave comments or questions. I would love to have them on the show.